Civilization 6 is the most successful game in the franchise. It is the most successful product Firaxis Games has ever created, both critically and commercially. So let's talk about it. The first thing I would like to talk about is the expansion. No, I'm not talking about the DLCs or expansion. I'm talking about how the game handles the expansion in creating your empire. In this section, I'll be talking about how hard it is to keep your empire intact, or how easy it is to expand. Basically, tall versus wide, which is one of the main discourse around the internet about what civilization should be. In my opinion, this game is very much wide based game. Like, you are very much encouraged to settle as much as you can, take up as much as land as you can, and becoming bigger and bigger. Here, the bigger is always better, which I find it to be very appropriate for this genre, because one of the X's in this genre, like 4x, one of the X's of 4x in this genre is expand. If the game design punishes you for expansion, then the whole point of the game is invalid, in my opinion. What is the point of playing the game if you can't even build an empire? It's an empire building genre. So I very much approve this change, but there are some issues with it. Firstly, there should be some kind of the opportunity cost for expansion. Like, you can't just expand willy-nilly. Otherwise, the entire strategy becomes an ICS, Infinite Cities Sprawl, where the only way to win the game is to just settle as much as possible with no repercussion, which is where this game fails a bit. Like, I know there are some systems out there that put a hold to the snowballing, like housing or amenities or the increasing cost of settlers and districts, but it wasn't very much enough. There isn't much of a opportunity cost. The good choice is always settle as much as possible. So I believe there should be a system where bigger should be always better, but getting big should be hard. It should not be that easy. I feel like, and I'm not asking it to return it to global happiness from Civ 5, because that system was horrible. That system had an opposite effect where you are heavily discouraged to expand. You can just win the game by just building 4 cities and never care about in any other parts of the world. Here in this game, you do have at least a reason to care about other parts of the world, and resource management is very much important, unlike in Civ 5 where resources don't matter. You can just settle for 4 cities and cuddle off and win the game without ever needing any strategic or luxury resources from other lands. The whole point of this genre is to have a tension between different empires for land and resources. And Civ 6 do have that tension, but the problem is the AI is so terrible that it becomes pointless. After you settle 10 cities in Civ 6, you can just win up just about every game. Like, you can easily settle 10 cities uh, under 120 turns, and you can just win about every game from lower difficulty to deity. So my solution would be to have a system where you can get big enough, and it is very useful, but the getting bigger should be hard. And in my opinion, Civ 4 does this the best. In Civ 4, the maintenance cost is keeps the over expansion at bay. Expansion were still heavily encouraged, and it is beneficial ultimately, but you can do it faster. You have to build enough infrastructure in your existing cities before you can settle more, because if you settle quickly enough, it will bankrupt your economy. So it is good that in Civ 4 you have to build enough infrastructure in your existing city, work on your existing cities before you can build more. And that system is by far the best system to counter the tall versus wide strategies, where tall and wide both are good. Your empire should be tall and wide, not tall or wide. So in Civ 6, but in Civ 6 it is similar to Civ 2 and 3, where ICS just overruns any and all strategies there is. So it makes the game very one-dimensional. Civ 7 has an interesting system. I have played Civ 7 Civ 7 was released for over a month, and I have played a lot of game. I feel like Civ 7 also had a good solution to this. So the Civ 6 tried to balance it, but I feel like it went in opposite direction from Civ 5. In Civ 5, the tall was heavily preferred and wide was heavily punished. That is exact opposite in Civ 6. So that's my overall opinion about the expansion and the empire building of this game. The city building is, I would say, decent. Don't get me wrong, I like it quite a bit. Like, I'm not one of those people who hated district system. I like that the cities are now unstacked, so there are extra strategic layer on building cities rather than just randomly building anything and everything in previous entries. But the problem is that the AI also suck at this aspect, so it makes the AI even worse than they already were in Civ 5. I feel like Civ 6 was built for multiplayer game, but in single player the AI just completely useless. So I still don't understand how they cannot put a little bit of effort in AI. Like, they're making so much money through DLCs and season pass or frontiers for leader pass. So I don't understand. They can have, it can be done. Like in Civ 5 mods, Vox Populi, there was a good AI. If the modders can do that, I don't understand why can't the developers of a AAA game can't. I don't want it to be as good as some chess bots, like chess engines, but it should be competent enough so that in the highest difficulty it should be harder. Right now the Civ 6 highest difficulty deity is a joke. It's nowhere near as good as Civ 4. It's even worse than Civ 5. So I don't understand what is happening. Another thing is the problem with the AI is they don't build units. They don't build uh, settlers. I don't understand why don't they build more settlers, especially for Civ 6, where the main gameplay of this is to expand. If the gameplay is favoring expansions, the AI they should program the AI to settle more. In Civ 5, I could understand that AI is not settling because the gameplay of that system heavily favors the tall gameplay. But here, the AI does not really do anything. I, I once, I many times I have matches where I have 10 cities and the AI just only have 2 or 3, and that is unacceptable, especially on a higher difficulty. Only in deity they try to expand, but here it's just ridiculous. And the, if they can't make the AI compete harder, then I am lobbying for them to have more cheats and more bonuses. If they can't compete in a fairly regular manner, then jack up those bonuses to make them compete, especially on a higher difficulty. If the good AI or a fun AI is not coming soon, then I don't understand why can't they just jack up more bonuses. Sure, some people will be grumbling at it at their feet for more bonuses, and they will not like it that much. But what's the point of having a high difficulty setting if you can't make it actually difficult on higher settings? I don't understand that. So it is already getting better in Civ 7, where they do make uh, many units so that they can fight for war. So they do overwhelm you with numbers. So it is like it can be improved. So that is good. But in Civ 6, they don't build units. Another problem is that some of the AI agendas were really random, and I don't understand why they make this so predictable. Like, I know that C5 AI are very much unpredictable on their launch, and they were improved by adding a number sliders like +1, -2, that type of deal. Maybe I am remembering Vox Populi, but in Vox Populi there were transparency, transparent diplomacy. So I don't understand that system was perfect. Here, some of the agendas are really stupid, and it's very artificial, and why they hate you. In C4, the reason some AI hates you is very much occurs by naturally playing the game. Like sometimes you are denying AI a land, or sometimes they have different religion, or etc. Here, it's very random and arbitrary. Like it's very artificial. Another problem is the UI of this game, like user interface. The Civ 6 has one of the worst user interface I have ever seen in a strategy game. Like half of the time, the UI doesn't even show the information that it's supposed to show, and clicking on something doesn't really show anything at what it does. Like they don't show the information. Most of the important informations are gradually hidden. I had to learn the game by watching some playthroughs or reading some Wikipedia. But here, like some fan forums. But here, there is nothing. nothing written it what this button does and why it does that, and relevant information is purposefully hidden from you in tense situations. So I don't understand that. And in Civ 7 it became even worse. Like you are lacking the essential informations from the players, purposefully confiscating the players from knowing what each mechanic does. The Firaxis developers have gotten worse on UI development. They should take some notes from Paradox in their latest games like Crusader Kings 3, which has one of the best UIs on the market. So these are some of my pet peeves of Civ 6, and I still like this game. It is one of the better 4X games that has come out in the last 10 years, and I still like this game. It's just that it has some issues that still have not fixed to this day and still bothers me. So I hope that Civ 7, even though it released in an unfinished state, can fix some of the issues that not only Civ 7 had but also Civ 6 had. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.